Ms. Alva, the lack of political will to subscribe to set patriarchal structures has cut both ways. Your own allies have let you down multiple times, not once. But you do talk about Rajiv Gandhi's dream, but the sheer fact also, and maybe, if you take the politics away from it, Ms. Alva, it was tabled 3 times over under the Vajpayee government.
More than 3 times. And even the other governments, when it was introduced, it was not passed because we couldn't put the numbers together. Everybody's manifestos spoke about it. Congress, Mamta, regional parties, the left parties, everybody was supporting it. But we couldn't get the sufficient numbers because it was being scuttled by 2 or 3 parties, and numbers were the most important for a constitution amendment.
Correct that. First time it's been tabled by the Modi government, and this time around it does look it would pass. But, with what you touched upon, yes, Ms. Malwa, the sheer fact, yes, that the timeline of it seems to suggest that we might not see the light of day in terms of it being implemented on ground with 33% reservation, not before 2029.
That's right.
That is if at all the census happens earlier, then right, there is a constitutional amendment and we bring in delimitation earlier. We don't know if South parties are going to be on board of that or accept. So it's a long road ahead. Do you see this as an eyewash then? Because ultimately, what is it that we are doing? We're going to pass the buck to the next government, and we don't know what the political structure is then.
At the moment, it is a headline opportunity. It is headlines all over the country. Women are excited. Everybody is congratulating the government. So am I. I am happy that it is at least coming onto the statute book. But let me be honest, when I read the details after the initial euphoria, I said, good God, who knows when and who is going to actually take the initiative to implement it, because the implementation is not going to be easy. We will have to have the numbers, we will have to, numbers to have a government that will be determined to move forward. And well, that's a big question. But once it's on the statute book, I don't think any government is going to amend it or move back. It will only be a movement forward, and the assemblies will have to concur, which I'm sure they will do.
Ms. Alva, I'm going to ask you 2 questions, ma'am, before I let you go. But one of them, history stands testimony that through the course of every time this bill was tabled, it was the socialist leaders that let it down. And you know who all I'm talking about. There's a vast range. Today, where the alliance of your own party stands, in the India alliance, there are many political parties which definitely will not be on board with going ahead on whatever the Congress wants to claim is its victory in terms of pushing forth with the Women Reservation Bill. Do you see that as a huge hurdle as well?
No, I believe the mindset has changed, and on the eve of the 24 parliament elections, I don't see any party standing up and saying no to this bill. After all, women are more than 50% of the electorate. That done, the only issue on which there could be a bit of further discussion or maybe amendments is reservations within reservations.
Quota within quota, ma'am. That's what you're talking about.
I was on the joint parliamentary... Yes. I'm talking about... I was on the joint select committee. We had discussed this in detail, and we had all come to the consensus that in the SC/ST reservation quota, women would get 33%. That there could be no reservation or quota for the backward classes in the women's bill because it doesn't exist for parliament, right? And that the only way to sort this out is if reservations come for the OBCs or other communities, then we would give them 33% out of their quota. The second issue which was troubling was the question of rotation. It was said that if you rotate, then how will women take their constituency seriously, knowing they will not contest again. Our suggestion had been that there should be 2 consecutive elections which a woman should fight from a constituency and rotate them after that. Because we do believe that many of them will be able to fight as general candidates after 10 years. Because women have a reputation of being very dedicated and very committed to their constituencies. That's the second. The third thing, which again was the question, now the bill says 15 years. We had said a minimum of 30 years, which means 2 elections to be fought by a woman in 1 constituency. So it would mean that 2 elections and 1/3 at a time would mean 30 years. That I believe now, from what I understand, has been reduced to 15 years. Another suggestion which is now being propped up is dual member constituencies. I think it's crazy. No man is going to allow a woman to function as an equal in his constituency. She will be like baggage tied to his legs.
Right.
And either she gets kicked or she gets kicked out, whatever it is. So I don't think it is at all a solution to this problem. There should be 2 consecutive terms where she will fight, and she is free to contest as a general candidate if she has the confidence and she is accepted by a constituency after the 2 terms. That would be, I think, the best solution.